Hello, what's going on, fam? Welcome to episode number 102 of Latino Vegano. And you know I'm your host, Roger. And today I'm going to be continuing talking about my experience, my latest journey when I went back to Panama. And remember, guys, in a couple episodes back, my 100th episode, I spoke about how I went to jail while I was in Panama. And there was a second part, there's a sequel of this story, right? So this is it. So this is what we want to be talking about now. We're going to be talking about what happened after I went to jail. It happened during I was in jail when I was in Panama City, Panama, right? So let's go. Episode 102. So thank you guys always for the support. I love, appreciate all the nice and positive comments that I get either on my social platforms. If I get on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to give a like to this video. And you're on the podcast listening to this, don't forget to place a comment, because that allows the program to reach more people, and that's the whole point, right? We want to reach out to the masses. We want to reach to a lot of people so they can listen to this message. All right, so for those that haven't listened to my episode number 100, I was sharing an experience that happens to me on my latest trip when I went back to Panama. I haven't been in Panama or stayed longer in Panama for about 20 years, right? And on my recent trip, I went back there just to do a few things I had in mind. Getting an investment property that back in Panama, a condo, which is going to turn into a vegan Airbnb, and which I completed that project. So you guys been listening to from a little bit more on that in the further episodes. Also, I had a couple other things that I wanted to do while I was there on my journey, and I was able to accomplish a lot. But like I was sharing with you guys in my previous episode, there was a situation where I was driving around close to actually celebrating my birthday, because I was during my birthday when I was there, and I was in a situation where I got pulled over by the cops, and the cops stopped me, and they asked me for my ID. Nonetheless, I don't have a Panamanian driver's license. I live in the U.S., so my most of my documentation at this point are U.S. documents, right? So, but anyway, there's a law that allows you to drive with your current driver's license in any country, and then it might change depending on the country. But in Panama, you can drive with your driver's license or your U.S. driver's license or any foreign driver's license for up to 3 months, which is around the time that your visa or your permit to be in the country is allowed to. So I didn't have a problem with that, so I was fine in that sense. So they asked me for my ID. The cops pulled me over. They asked me for my ID, and when they asked me for my ID, I gave him my Panamanian ID, because prior to that I was able to renew my ID. So now I had dual citizenship. So I have Panamanian ID and I have US ID, and I was able to renew those documents. So, but I didn't have a driver's license. So I have a Panamanian ID and I have a US ID, but I don't have a Panamanian driver's license. So I was able to renew my ID, so I showed them my ID, and then when they pulled my information in the system, they say that there was an order of arrest, and I was like, this is a strange thing, because prior to that day, on December 14, my birthday is December 15, I went to a government institution and I asked them to pull up my record, because one of the requirements for me to be able to purchase an apartment or condo or whatever, it was to have a clean record. So when I pull up my record was clean. Nothing was in my record. There was nothing showing my record. So I was very confused when the cops telling me that there's something that came up, and I needed to go to jail, like to basically to the closest station. I was like, what's going on here? That doesn't really make no sense. So kind of doing a recap of of this whole scenario. Where what I'm trying to go with this is like what happened during that time while I was incarcerated. And so anyway, so like I said, so they just pulled me over, stopped me. They asked me for my documentation, show them. They pulled information in the system. I was very confused at that point. One of the cops said, "Hey, let me hop in your car and we'll drive to the closest station and then you will figure it out from there." So I accepted it because I have nothing to hide. I don't know what's going on. And I'm trying to figure out what's the deal here, right? So what I decided to do was like, all right, cool. Let me see what's going on here. So we went to the closest station. Again, I don't run anything high, so I was like, should be fine. Should we get out of here for a little bit? At this point, it was already like 2:30 in the morning, so it was fairly late. Again, I was celebrating my birthday, so I was out with some friends and whatnot, right? So I got into the station. And then they started to looking up for my information and said, well, you have a order of arrest. There's a case pending and whatnot. And then they mentioned this particular place in Panama, which is a town, which is about an hour away from the city. And I was like, what's going on there? So I had no idea, so they asked me I need to call a relative so they can go pick up the vehicle. And then so they know what's going on. So they handcuffed me, and I got handcuffed into some kind of bench that they have close by. So I got handcuffed into the bench, and there's a jail cell right across, and I can see some of the inmates, yelling at stuff and whatnot, and listening to what's going on, right? And so they were like, "Nah, don't worry about it. We're not gonna put you in there. We're gonna leave you outside." That was what the cops keep telling me, right? They were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out." But the situation is that for them to figure it out, I had to wait till Monday, because at this point it was in the morning. It was Saturday morning, right? So this happened Friday night to Saturday morning. So it was already 2 a.m. on Saturday. So for them to figure it out, that means that I had to wait till Monday for them to actually figure it out. So that's a long time. So that means that I'm going to spend all Saturday night, all Sunday night, and who knows how long on Monday they're going to release me so we can figure what's going on. So long story short, my parents came. So I called my parents. My parents came. They came pick up the vehicle because the vehicle I was driving. They're all shocked because they don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on either. And we're like, all right, we'll come back tomorrow with a lawyer, trying to see what we can do. I want to give a shout out to my cousins. They're lawyers. Even though that branch of particular aspect of law is not their expertise, they still have enough knowledge to be able to manipulate or understand how the system works. So my cousin Rosalia, my cousin Verona, I want to give them a big shout out, because man, they did everything to try to get me out. So I really appreciate them a lot for what they did for me, and my parents as well, and some of the friends that were aware of the situation. So there was a lot of chaos during those time, because there was a lot of uncertainty, because nobody knew what's going on. I had no idea what was going on. I don't recall. Listen, we're talking about a case, supposedly a case that happens 20 years ago, right? So, I mean, I don't even live in Panama anymore, right? So there were so many questions coming to my mind, like, well, why now this is coming up? If I have a case, why is it not happening? Why now? Like, if this was a situation where something was not right, why you guys didn't contact my relative or my family that is still there so they can call me? I have a communication with my family daily. So this is gonna be a lot easier for you guys to reach out to me through them. So there was so many questions I was asking, like, what is this going on? Like, why now that I'm in Panama, this is happening? Like, I've been to Panama, even there has been short trips, at least 4 or 5 times in the gap of 20 years. So they could have reached out to me in any of those opportunity. Why this is happening now? So there was a lot of questions coming to my mind when this situation happened, and I was so confused, and we all were confused. We don't know what was going on. There was not a lot of information. The cops didn't know what's going on, so they locked me in. So basically, they handcuffed me, right? And then after that, so I was talking to the cops. My parents came, and all that thing happened, and they were like, "Yeah, don't worry, he's gonna be fine." Blah blah blah. Blah said. The cops were saying my parents all kind of stuff. They were telling me all kind of stuff. They just want to tell us what we wanted to hear, right? So, no disrespect to anyone that is a cop, and I know there's some good cops out there, but some of them cops, especially the ones that I was dealing with, some of them, they're just not very legit people. They're not really there to serve the community or to serve people. They was just there to, like, it's like they feel like there's them against everybody else. And I'm not an enemy. I'm not a bad person. I'm not trying to do anything wrong. I'm just trying to find out what's going on with me, because I didn't really feel like I did anything wrong, and wish I was right. So if I'm the first person to say, like, if I did something wrong, yes, punish me or whatever it needs to be done to be able to handle that situation. Otherwise, if I don't think I deserve it, then there's no reason for me to be there. So when they handcuffed me, so I'm there sitting, right, waiting, all trying to think, all this thing going through my mind, right, and then they handcuffed me then to like 6 a.m, I believe it was. So at 6, there's a new group of cops coming into the station. So the ones that literally, quote unquote, arrest me, they left, and then a new shift came in. And then when those guys came in, they were like, well, we're a new group of guys. You cannot stay outside. You're gonna go to the jail cell. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they lie. So one guy told me I was never gonna be in the jail cell. I was gonna stay outside the whole time. And then suddenly one guy came in and he said, "No, you're gonna in. You're gonna get in." I'm like, "You're putting me in with all the crooks, with all the this different type of people that done all kind of weird things and bad things, and I'm being in the jail cell with all these folks. Like if I'm if I'm on the same level as them, and I don't wanna sound like I'm degrading anyone in this with this comment. But what I'm saying is, like, I again, in this point, I feel like I didn't do anything wrong. So you put him in the same category, like I'm a wrong person or like I'm a bad person for some extent. You have a guy there that's committed a murder, and I'm in the same jail cell that a murderer. So that doesn't really make sense to me, right? So he was like, "Yeah, this is a new group. I don't care. I don't really know you. Blah blah blah. You going in." So, and honestly, one of the best things that happened is for me to be in there if you want to look for the positive thing, because while I was in there, I was able to communicate with some of the guys that were there, kind of know their stories while they were there, understand where they're coming from. And there were 3 guys in there when I was actually 4 when they locked me in. There was one guy that had a situation based on he was 2 guys. There were 2 guys that were there for drugs, because they were drug addicts. So they were drug addicts. And there was one guy that was there for corruption. He did a fraud. So and then there was another guy there that he robbed someone. So he had a case of robbery. So that was the 4 guys, and then it was me. That they had no previous criminal record of what I was done. They was just basically saying that they needed to put me in jail for some reason, right? And I actually went a little bit into the details on the previous episode, but at that moment that I was in there, I had no idea what was the whole situation. So they put me in there, and then eventually one of my cousins, which is representing me as my lawyer, Rosalia, she came in, and then we started talking, and she said, "Well, what do you think happened?" I said, "Well, the only thing that I can think of is back in 2004 or 2003, I had this situation where cops say they found marijuana in my car and blah blah, and that's the only thing I can think of. Either that, or there's maybe some kind of legal situation for a business that I didn't pay the fee or anything like that because I had a business back then. So I don't know which one of these cases is, but if they're looking for me in that place, it had to be for one of these situations. The only thing I can think of is that she said, like, okay, well, let me go ahead and do my research. So she took that information every day, or every, I don't know, at least twice or 3 times a day. My cousin will come. She'll bring me food, some clothes or whatever, and I needed it. So this happened on Saturday. I mean, being there is like the longest day. Like, if you've never been in prison and never been in jail or incarcerated or anything like that, your days go so slow. Like, you feel like you've been there forever. Even though I was there Saturday and Sunday, for me, it felt like I was there like a whole week, to not lying, because your days go so slow. It's so hard, and your mind plays so much tricks on you, right? And you're constantly thinking about like all kind of things, and you just want to get out because they take away your freedom. We already struggle with all kind of things with society and paradigms and all kind of things. Now you have to deal with like me being incarcerated, me being locked. You can't. I had to ask permission to go to the restroom, like permission. Like literally, I had to call the cop, and if he doesn't feel like giving me permission to go or do number 2, like to go take a dump, he will not let you out. So like, this is unbelievable. Like, you take away your rights as a human being. So if I wanted to go to the restroom, I couldn't go to the restroom. So if you want to go pee, the same area where you shower, this place is nasty. Where the cell that I'm staying, and this is not even like a full jail. This is a detention center. So they detain you. You stay there until they take you to a bigger cell. So this place is nasty. Like, it's horrible. Like, imagine like, ceilings falling off. There's water coming from the ceiling because just the leaks all over. The same place where you shower is the same place where you pee, right? And then there's roaches all over. There's trash in the side. And then if you want to take number 2, you want to take a dump, you have to literally ask for permission. And then they might or might not let you out. But when they let you out, they have to escort you all the way to the restroom so you can do your thing. They don't have toilet paper, so you have to have your family member to allow you to have toilet paper. It's not you can't wipe your butt. I mean, so there's so many. This is like the most horrible experience that you can possibly happen to anyone. Plus, now you're dealing with the inmates, right? That you don't know what their mentality is. You don't know what they want. You don't know who to trust. You don't know if they want something from you. Like, you have no idea what's going on with this situation. So you have to deal with that emotional aspect to it, right? Also, remember, I'm coming from a place that I'm free to do whatever I can. I'm visiting my hometown, I'm visiting my family, and suddenly I'm being locked up for some reason. So I'm dealing with all this stress or all this drama, right? I'm a strong person when it comes to mindset, right? And I didn't let that stuff break me down. But there were situations where I was like, what am I doing here? Like, this, what is it? Like, this has to be something bigger. Like, the universe and God has to have something bigger for me from this experience for me to be able to be here, because there's no reason for me to be here. Like, there's no reason. But if there has to be a reason, then it has to be something greater coming from this experience. So I started thinking from that perspective, because I had no idea why I was in there, because there was no reason for me to be there. So I needed to take something from this experience and learn and get something positive. It was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make this now a greater situation, and I'm going to take this message and I'm going to spread it out to the world. So that's why I'm sharing this with you guys in my podcast. So going back to the cell, horrible experience. So I got to the point that I was not actually eating any solid food. I told my family, please don't send me food, because I don't want to go to the restroom. I don't want to do number 2, because I don't want to deal with the emotional of me trying to ask a person, can you please let me go to the restroom? So I was just drinking liquid, because it was easier for me to go pee than to go poop. So I was at that level of emotion, right? But I noticed that there was 2 inmates or cellmates that they didn't have any family members providing them with any type of support. I give thanks and appreciation to and love to my family, because during that whole time they were there, they were worried, they were supporting me, they were praying, they were bringing me food all the time. I ate all 3 meals the whole time, even though I didn't actually eat them, but they brought me food the whole time. And there were people in there that didn't get nothing. There were 2 guys, the guys that were having to drug addicts, that he had no family support. So when my family used to bring me food, since I wasn't eating, I was giving away my food, and it was vegan food, of course. So they'll say, "Wow, this is some of the greatest food I ever had in my life. Like, I didn't even know I can eat this social fresh food, so fresh and delicious meal. I feel like I'm eating something exquisite." Of course, because they're not probably used to eat, this type of flavors, right? So all the food that I was getting, I was just giving it away. I was just, you know what, you can have my food. You can have my food. That's okay. I'm not hungry, because I wasn't really that hungry. So my whole experience was seeing how these people progress during that time that I was there. And at the same time, for me, was how do I take this experience and make it something greater? So being there, it was a tough situation. I was there all Saturday night and then all Sunday. So to me, it really felt like I was there forever. Like, it really felt like it was forever. And I was just focusing on drinking liquids. He was just drinking liquid water, whatever juice they bring, having a lot, eating fruits maybe. I was more focused into that, and nuts and seeds. I got some nuts too. I ate some of that, but everything else, I just passed it along to them. I was just giving away my food, had them share it, because they wasn't getting any support from family. So that's one thing that I learned. I learned the support from family was very important. The support from friends that are really love you and take care for you. That's very important. The love for yourself, and to value those moments, because there's never been a radical person or someone that has done greater things for the world that has not gone through situations like this. They all go through. All the big leaders, they always go to situations. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Bob Marley, you name it, all the big ones, guys, they always go. Mandela, they always go to situations like this. So this is my story, this is my experience, and the benefit that I get from them is the story that I can tell you guys, that even though the adversity that I went through, I still feel grateful for the people that was on my side, helping me the whole time. Living in a place like that, or staying in a place like that for almost 48 hours, allow me to appreciate what I have and to be grateful for what I have. I'm not settling, but I'm very grateful for having a place to stay, having a bed. Listen, I slept on the floor, and sleeping on the floor, they give you a piece of a carton box, and that's the only thing they use as a mattress. It's a piece of carton box. Sleep on the floor. You wrap your clothes around, whatever clothes you have, and that's what you use as a pillow, right? You sleep in the floor. That's tough, right? You see, you got roaches. You don't know who's gonna mock you or not. You don't have no idea what's going on. So you literally have to trust. You have to trust the power of the Supreme God. You have to power the universe. You trust the people that are around you. And then if they want to upgrade you, is you been in that cell for a long time, they might upgrade you to Haman, to like, so they had this special rope, and then they created some kind of bag with that thing. But at the end of the day, it's not very comfortable anyway. So the point is that being in that situation is not an easy situation. It's not a friendly situation. It's not a situation that you want to be in. You don't want to be in a place that you cannot go out, you cannot see the sun, you cannot enjoy the nature. You have to ask permission to go to the restroom. somebody had to bring you food because they don't give you food. They're supposed to give cellmates, or they're supposed to give your food, but they don't do it. What they do is they just basically, if they feel like doing it, they do it. If they don't. So it just goes to show you that it's a very corrupt system, and anywhere you go, it's gonna be that way. However, you have to put yourself in situations to always be successful and succeed in life. And how do you do that? By having the right mindset, by having the proper mindset, and to release those paradigms, release all those programs that you have, especially those negative programs, things that's coming from the outside that allow you to tell you that you cannot win, you cannot be successful. Honestly, the contrary, you have to flip that around and then start winning, start making things different, make change in your life. This is gonna be a story where I'm gonna tell you guys this is where I came from, and this is where I am now. Right? This is gonna be a success story. And so success story means because I went from a place that I should not be in, a situation where I was incarcerated for some bogus case, and now I'm in a place of like, you know what? We overcame that big times. Now we live in a happy, healthy, and wealthy life. Right? Health-wise, we eat good food. We eat a plant-based whole food diet. Right? Or we eat a vegan diet. Our mindset is clear because we don't contribute to that negativity in the world. Killing, raping, animals, human, any of those things. Right? We have the proper mindset. And the what? Because we know how to grow our own food. We know how to make our finance better. I mean, that's the kind of knowledge that you have to feed your brain with, right? Positive things. That way you can overcome things. Nobody should be in the other situation, but any situation that you'll be into, you can always find a way. You can always figure it out, get a way out, and create a better life for you. That life has to be created by you. You're the one that creates it. Not me, not your neighbor, not your parents, not your friends. You have to do it. And how you start? By changing your mindset, by having the proper attitude. That's how you start, by doing it. By educating yourself and how can you accomplish those things. By not limiting yourself. Changing the way you eat is the way you've been programmed your whole life. Telling you that eating certain type of food is good for you, You've been programmed that way to eat. But now you have to reprogram yourself to eat different. Is that reprogram means that you have to watch a video like Earthlings that showcase how cruel animals are treated? Then do it. But the thing is, you gotta reprogram yourself because you're already being programmed. From kid, when you were born, you didn't feed all this information because your brain was wide open and you was getting all this information. So that's how you created this life. So when you get older and you start growing, you start developing all these different type of things that you do just automatically. It's because you've been programmed that way. So now you gotta reprogram yourself so you can have new idea, new concept. And how I did that is by preparing myself, studying myself, and learning about how can I maximize my potential by using the power of my mind, by using the power of food to create a healthier life and to create wealth and to create happiness, to bring more love and attract more people into my life. So I want to end this episode with that, guys. I hope you can guys get some really good insight of my experience. You can always turn everything around. I had done it and I keep doing it and I will continue doing it. And I encourage you guys to do the same. So guys, thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right. See you guys later.